the case, forcing the judicial system to take the case. At the very best, if you, in 1 in a million cases, if you can obtain a conviction, if the person is incarcerated, the odds are that within 2 weeks he will have escaped. I mean, there's nothing in the process that works to offer that protection. Then it becomes much more challenging to develop a proper response to that.
And it must have been challenging to keep your spirits up in that kind of scenario as well, because I mean it's such a critical job. But if you feel you can't affect that change, there must have been times where it was just insurmountable. I just have a couple of questions for you because we have about 2 minutes left, Madame. There are, as we mentioned, more than about 100 students here who are looking at their options and probably going to ask you some fabulous questions a little bit later on and get to meet some more people within the profession. But what advice do you have for them who are searching, for that passion and why they should go with that passion?
It's very difficult. I think they now live in an environment that is very different from the professional environment, the environment when I entered the legal profession. The fact that they're here seems to me indicate that they don't need a lot of advice. The fact that they're in this room means that they're already clued into the fact that you cannot be, you can't lead every battle. There are times where I sit back and I think, oh, I haven't done a thing about other issues that matter enormously. I've never been engaged in the environmental movement. Well, that's true. Well, you can't be of every single battle. You have to, it seems to me, to be supportive. You have to elect governments that I think will promote all the battles that need to be fought for all these good causes. But you have to invest yourself, make your choices, pick one, and in that environment, I think, really remain engaged.
Give it your all.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, I don't think that the students that are here need a lot of advice. Their presence, I think, speaks very loudly.
Absolutely. One final question for you, and it has to deal with the future. You're back home, you're mulling over, I suppose, the next step for you on this path. I hear there might be a job opening with the Federal Liberal Party. And the journalist in me wants to know if in your discussions of the difficulties of dealing with politics and also dealing with human rights, if you've thought of entering that arena in affecting change.
Yeah, you wonder, huh? Well, when I finish unpacking, I'll let me know, okay? Yeah, I have, this is the very first time in my life where I haven't actually jumped from one job to another. This is my gap year.
This is your gap.
Long overdue. Yeah, I'm not making any long-term plans, but just to make that absolutely clear, the national political life doesn't carry a great deal of attraction for me.
You said national.
National.
Okay.
Well,
okay, this is me going back to the newsroom with a story. No, I'm kidding you.
No
I'm kidding you. Well, I am thoroughly inspired. I think you're a wonderful role model. I think you're a great storyteller. And I thank you for the time that you've given us this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, Madame Louise Arbour. So great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure now to invite Amy Hannon, the head of Community Relations Strategy for TD, who brings greetings on behalf of our presenting sponsor, TD Bank Financial Group. Ladies and gentlemen, Amy Hannon.
Thank you, Suhanna, and good morning, everyone. TD Bank Financial Group is delighted once again this year to be the sponsor of the annual Person's Day Breakfast. And it is great to see so many of you here this morning. Your presence speaks volumes to the continuing importance of the work of LEAF and its mission. I'd also like to take a minute to congratulate LEAF on the progress that you've made these last almost 25 years in advancing legal rights for women in Canada, and of course also to express admiration for the work of Louise Arbour to extend human rights beyond gender equality and beyond our national borders. On a personal note, I actually recall attending, if not the first, some of the very early Person's Day breakfasts, and I remember very similar reaction to the speaker earlier. It made me feel optimistic, it made me feel hopeful about the future of our society and women's place in it. And while we all know there's still work to do, I feel the same optimism today, seeing how much has been accomplished in the area of legal reform and women's rights. During that same time, for those of us in the business and corporate world, we have also seen advances in the area of employment of women and breaking through, or at least making some of those, those cracks in the proverbial glass ceiling. In the mid-'80s, when LEAF started its work, I could probably have counted on my fingers the number of women bank executives in Canada. Today, women comprise about a third of executives in our financial services sector. And while that's perhaps not what it should be, it is in fact more than some of us could even imagine when we began this journey. We all know that it's about more than just numbers. It's about changing attitudes and changing culture. Last week, for example, I had an opportunity to attend a Women in Leadership Symposium. This was attended by, and numbers again, over 235 women executives of TD Bank, along with our CEO, who at this point is still a man, and a few select, perhaps token, other senior male executives. There were many things on the agenda, many updates and business planning sessions, but I was most struck by the discussions that took place on leadership, about the importance of being able to bring one's authentic self into the workplace, about being able to practice a more humanistic approach to leadership, about creating a more inclusive work environment for everyone, and about finding ways to give back to the community and also to, I guess, give forward to the next generation. These women committed to being role models and mentors for the next generation of leaders. And these are role models and mentors that many of these women did not have when they were coming up through the ranks. So this also makes me feel optimistic and hopeful. These women will open doors, and there are doors that still need to be opened, particularly for women of color, for Aboriginal women, for immigrant women, for women with disabilities, and for lesbians. So today is about celebrating progress on all of these fronts and recommitting to the work ahead. We at TD believe that our success is enhanced by our partnerships with organizations like LEAF and others whose hard work and contribution to the advancement of women in society help us to make the strides that we need to make within our own organization. And of course, challenge us to rethink and reshape our business for the future. So I'd just like to close by congratulating